Out of which, out of that 35 years, I have managed five American companies as a India country head or MD for them. National Semiconductor. Then I started AMD in India as their first country manager. Then I was with Motorola Freescale for 5 years. Then I was with PMC Sierra for 5.5 years as MD for India and Southeast Asia. And my last assignment was with Arrow Electronics as a MD for India. Arrow is a $30 billion US company, and I was running $250 million worth of business in India. And then I thought, enough for American, let me contribute something to Indian ecosystem. So 3 years back, I started my own consultancy firm to support startups in India and Indian companies. And in last 3 years, I have supported more than 50 startups. That's a voluntary work. And I'm officially advisor to five companies, which are all Indian companies, and I am helping them in their business development and strategy. So that's where I'm at after 3 years. I'm also chief mentor of IoT Open Lab of STPI Bangalore. I'm also chairperson of Design for Manufacturing Initiative by TI Bangalore. And I'm also chairperson for Mese München for their Electronica Productronica advisory board. And recently, I got an opportunity to be on a task force by Principal Scientific Advisor, which is under PMO, to contribute to India as an electronic product nation. And I'm championing semiconductor as a vertical under this PMO task force. So that's a quick background. Let me straightway jump to today's topic, and I will share my presentation now first. You can stop me anytime if you have any questions, but otherwise at the end we have kept 20 minutes for Q&A. So either way, you can interrupt me also anytime. So what I'm going to present today is electronics and semiconductor big growth opportunity, and particularly from the point of view of startups and MSMEs. So the agenda I'm going to cover is electronics and semiconductor industry global and India overview, challenges and opportunities, growth drivers, policies by Government of India to promote electronics and semiconductor industry, and opportunities for startups. As you know, in 2021, global semiconductor market was around $550 billion. And typically, semiconductor contributes 25% of any electronic system. So global electronics market 2 years back was around $2.2 trillion. Now, this $550 billion is expected to grow to $1 trillion by 2030, as per various reports and forecasts. So that means global electronics market is going to be $4 trillion by 2030 or above. Now, talking about India, India last year was $120 billion consumption. So consumption means including all your mobile phone, TVs, laptops, telecom infrastructure, industrial product, energy meters, all put together, our electronic consumption was $120 billion last year. And out of that $120 billion, $40 billion was finished good import, whereas 80 billion was domestic manufacturing. Now, if you look at 5 years back, the story was reverse. Two-thirds of electronic was imported and one-third was manufactured in India. When we were at around $60 billion, $40 billion worth of almost import was happening in India. And why we enter into such situation of import dependency? If you look at prior to 1996, India was truly Atmanirbhar in electronics. We used to have Onida, BPL, Videocon as a consumer brand. We used to have HCL, Wipro, Zenith as a laptop and PC brands. Our entire wireline telecom revolution was based on BSNL's C-dot technology. And in 1996, we signed WTO agreement. It's called ITA 1, International Trade Agreement 1. And as per that agreement, we allowed finished good import at zero duty for electronics. The impact of that one agreement with WTO was such that Onida, BPL, Videocon gone, we got Samsung, LG, Sony. HCL, Wipro, Zenith gone, we got Dell, HP, Acers of the world. C-dot gone, we got Alcatel, Lucent, Ericsson, Nokia, and Huawei's of the world for entire wireless revolution of GSM and CDMA. And only two sectors were not affected: industrial electronics, because it was energy meter was a tender based business, and inverter was a unique product for India market, plus two wheeler electronics, auto electronics, because there was a local ecosystem exist. But apart from that, most of the other sectors were affected because of WTO. And then government realized that electronics consumption story has started increasing big time, and our import dependency started growing big in electronics. So they came out with this scheme called PLI, Production Link Incentive, for mobile phone, for automotive electronics, for telecom. Okay, and impact of PLI scheme was such that today most of the mobile phones are getting manufactured in India. In last 4 or 5 years, so many SMT lines got installed, so many EMS companies have evolved in India, as well as global companies have started manufacturing in India by setting up their own manufacturing. So, which is a good thing. We got so much of manufacturing growth, and that's the reason now 80 billion out of 120 billion was manufactured in India. But this manufacturing is happening at a very low value add. Apple, Samsung, Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, Micromax, Lava, everyone is importing CKD kit and just doing the SMT assembly in India. So we get 10% value addition. In $100 phone, India makes only $10. And to get that $10, I'm paying $4 incentive, 4% incentive. So eventually I get only $6. So, when Modi ji talked on 15th August that $30 billion worth of mobile phones are manufactured in India, or India export has grown to 22 billion in electronics. Point is, it is at 10 to 15% local value addition. That means in that 30 billion phones, India has made only $3 billion. So this is the challenge all of us have to address. However, the India story is very strong electronics. This $120 billion is expected to grow to $300 billion by 2027, 26, 27. Okay, as per Ministry of Electronics and IT report, this $300 billion includes $120 billion of export. Currently, it is around $10 billion. So I have my own doubts whether from 10 billion we can grow to 120 billion or not. But still, $200 billion story looks very, very promising and very strong. Because of 1.42 billion population, because of 450 million middle class population, everyone is buying smartphone, everyone is buying laptop, tablets. Our 120 billion to $200 billion is looking rock solid, which is also phenomenal growth. Okay, and apart from that $300 billion of consumptions and manufacturing, we are talking about electronics and semiconductor design. We are talking about component ecosystem getting evolved, which will add to another $100 billion. So ESDM, electronic system design and manufacturing, will contribute to $400 billion when we will be $5 trillion economy by 26, which is phenomenal. Currently, we are at less than 4% of GDP, but will be almost 8% of the GDP uh, by 26. We have seen these revolutions: 1.2 billion Aadhaar card enrollments, 1 billion bank account getting created, 1.2 billion mobile subscribers. Okay, so digital revolution in India is happening. UPI payment is another great success story. So overall, data centers are growing, server farms are growing, and overall digital revolution in India is growing at a very, very fast pace, which is really transforming India. And electronics is playing a big role into this transformation. If we have to look at the growth drivers for this 300 billion story, then automotive electronics is one of the very big segment. 3 years back, we have seen migration from BS4 to BS6. So, earlier we produced 20 million two-wheelers. Earlier on these two-wheelers, we used to use a very simple capacitor discharge ignition unit, CDI unit. In Pune, there are almost 5, 6 companies who are manufacturing this CDI. But when we migrated from BS4 to BS6, all those two-wheelers have changed from capacitor discharge ignition to electronic fuel injection. Now, a gadget which was going around $5 in a two-wheeler, suddenly you find 25 to $30 worth of EFI system going into two-wheeler. So on one hand, electronic content in the vehicle are growing. On second hand, uh, total number of automotives are growing very fast pace in India. So electronic growth in automotive electronics is very fast. Now another big revolution happening is that of electric vehicle. In electric vehicle, electronic content is far more than the content into IC engine. You have battery management system, you have motor control unit, you have connectivity module, you have digital cluster, you have LED lighting. So automotive electronics, which contributes almost 13% of total electronics, is going to contribute to this growth. 4G to 5G migration is a very big thing, because we have to change all the base stations which are currently supporting 4G network. We will need base stations to support 5G network. GPON is another big thing happening. There is a program called National Optical Fiber Network, NOFN, where government wants to take fiber connectivity to every panchayat, into every village of India. And this is driven based on CDOT technology, and almost, I think, more than million villages are covered for this uh, fiber connectivity to the panchayat. So GPON, and also the companies like Airtel, Reliance, they are taking fiber to the home. So earlier we used to have DSL connectivity at home, but now most of the homes are getting GPON fiber connectivity for broadband connection. So this is another big growth driver for telecom. Wi-Fi networks is another big growth driver. Coming to industrial and consumer, no doubt mobile phone will continue to dominate the highest growth segment. Almost 30% of electronic is contributed by mobile phones. Energy meter is another big revolution. In next 3 to 4 years, government is going to upgrade all the energy meters to smart energy meter with 4G connectivity. So almost 200 million energy meters are required to be installed. Utility meters like gas meter, water meter will be converting to electronics. Solar pump, there is a program by Government of India called Kusum, where the existing diesel pump will be replaced by solar pumps. That is also a massive program getting implemented across India. And then the smart city project, smart lighting, smart utility, smart traffic management, smart garbage collection. There are 100 smart cities getting evolved in India, and which require a lot of infrastructure based on electronics. So as I told that 80 billion of domestic manufacturing is happening only at 15% of local value addition. That means in a $120 billion market, 40 billion is finished good import, 80 billion is domestically manufactured at 15% value addition. That means we recognize only 12 billion. In a $120 billion, only 10% is recognized for India as a local value addition. Rest of it goes as a dollars to import components, to import IP technology, and to import CKD kits. So how we can change that? So let's analyze what is the value chain of electronics. 40% value is into components. Out of that 40%, 25% is into semiconductor, 10% is into passives, connectors, cables, and 5% is into bare PCB. Now, today, we are importing almost more than 95% of these components. Semiconductor practically zero. In passives, we have few capacitor companies, few resistor companies, but the global companies like Yageo, Vishay, they are dominating India market. Coming to bare PCB, total bare PCB requirement in 80 billion, as I told you, it's 5%. So $4 billion worth of PCBs are required. But today domestic manufacturing of PCB is only $350 million, and that too up to 4 layer or maximum 6 layer, not beyond that. So PCB is one big imported item in India. So we miss out on 40% of component value completely almost. Then comes IP and technology. Now the good part is we have excellent talent. Means our talent is working in Intel, Qualcomm, Texas Instrument, Infineon, Microchip, ST Micro, Infineon. All the global semiconductor companies today, most of the chips are designed out of India. Same way with embedded electronics. Cisco, Juniper, Bosch, Delphi, Continental, Visteon, ABB, GE, Honeywell, all of them have R&D in India. And we are developing their cutting edge products. But we get jobs. IP value goes to their headquarters. Same case with design services companies. Wipro, HCL, Tata Elxsi, or Tech Mahindra, L&T, doing world-class global projects, but we get jobs. IP value goes to their customer. So Indian talent is working on both semiconductor design as well as embedded design, but we are not getting IP value recognition. There are very few companies like Tejas Network, Genus, Secure Meter, who are doing design-led manufacturing, means they are designing products and also manufacturing products in India. But if you look at consumer electronics, if you look at telecom infrastructure, only Tejas is there, but or CDOT is there to some extent. But otherwise, everything is dominated by global players. IT hardware completely dominated by global players. 95% market share is between Dell, HP, Acer, and Lenovo. So we don't get IP technology value, we don't get component value. What we end up doing is an EMS activity. We are happy to do manufacturing by doing soldering and doing SMT assembly. And we get 10 to 15% value addition for that. So this needs to be changed. And government also realized they have come up with semiconductor policy of $10 billion to create wafer fabs and ATMP packaging in India or compound semiconductors in India. But the most important thing for India is to create our own product innovation. India as a product nation is the most important need because we have talent. In fact, this talent is happy to work for multinational because they are getting good salary, and there is no environment where these talented people can take a risk and become entrepreneur. They don't have risk taking ability because there is no support available to startups. So I'm going to cover this topic later, but I hope you understand that the critical need for India is to create a component ecosystem as well as creating product innovation from India to improve the value addition. And imagine if we continue at 15% value addition, even if we reach $300 billion, our recognition will be only $45 billion. Still, $250 billion will go out of India. So it is a serious issue, and we must work on that. And all of us have to work on that. If we analyze breakup of electronic industry, 30% I told you is mobile phone, 17% is industrial electronics, sorry, 18% is industrial electronics, 17% is consumer electronics, and 11% is automotive electronics. 6% is IT hardware, telecom infrastructure, and defense and aerospace electronics. And around 4% is medical electronics. So that's the typical breakup of our $120 billion. Semiconductor is a big opportunity from two point of views. Firstly, as I told you, global market will grow from 550 billion to $1 trillion. So it is going to double. And India is already having great talent into VLSI chip design. So how we can create a fabulous ecosystem like Silicon Valley in India? How we can encourage people who are developing chips for global companies to develop chips from India for global market? In semiconductor market, 42% is CMOS, 26% is memory or CMOS or logic, 42%, memory is 26%, and discrete analog and other semiconductor is around 32%. Today, we don't have any wafer fab in India. Few packaging units are announced, like Micron is investing in Gujarat, Keynes is investing into Hyderabad, or CDIL has announced into Delhi, but it's only packaging. There is no wafer fab proposal as of now. Today morning, there is a news that Tower Semiconductor Israel is sending a proposal of $8 billion for wafer fab. That will be the first credible proposal we have seen in last 2 years. So let me talk about the Design Link Incentive Program. It's excellent scheme announced for startup in semiconductor IP core development or chip design or ASIC or SoC development. If a startup is investing $4 million or 30 crore rupees in developing any chip, then 50% comes from government, that is $2 million or 15 crore rupees comes from government of India. And that covers your employee salary, rent, everything. And on top of it, the expensive tools of Cadence, Synopsis, Mentor Graphics are given free by CDOT, CDAC, not CDOT. CDAC is giving free tools for this IP development. On top of it, once your IP goes into production, then there is a PLI of 4 to 6% up to a cap of $4 million or 30 crore rupees. So a startup get 15 crore for design and 30 crore for manufacturing. Total 45 crore incentive is given under DLI scheme for any semiconductor chip development or a VLSI chip development under the DLI scheme. And it is very simple. You have to apply online to get approval for DLI scheme. Government wants 100 fabless companies to emerge under this policy, and as of now, only 9 people have got approval. So still 90 plus, we are looking for new companies to emerge as a fabless companies. For semiconductor manufacturing, there are three policies. CMOS fab, where more than $3 billion investment is expected, and two proposals will be approved under CMOS wafer fab. Display wafer fab, where minimum investment is 1.4 billion for LCD or LED or MOLED or your TFT display, and minimum investment is $1.4 billion. For this also two proposals will be approved. As of now, for first two schemes, there is no proposal on the table. Foxconn Vedanta proposal was there or ISMC proposal was there, but they are rejected because they were not having good technology partner. Compound semiconductor, it is a very good scheme because here the minimum threshold is 10 million, not 1.4 billion or 3 billion. 10 million is hardly 85 crore rupees. And for 85 crore investments, you get 50% under compound semiconductor program. That means 40 crore plus will come from Government of India, central government. For all these three schemes, there are many states which are offering 20 to 25% incentive from the state. Odisha has a policy of 25%, Gujarat has a policy of 22%, Karnataka, Telangana, UP have policy of 20%. So 70% you get from Government of India and only 30% is required. But you need a good technology partner to participate into these three schemes. But this is a great schemes to create that semiconductor component ecosystem in India, and I'm very confident that over next 3 to 4 years, we will see a lot of wafer fab and ATMP units coming to India. There is a policy called specs for passive components, connectors, and PCB. It is not as lucrative as semiconductor policy. In this policy, you get 25% of capex investment as an incentive, that too as a reimbursement. So if you are investing 100 rupees to import capital equipment for capacitor manufacturing or inductor manufacturing or relay manufacturing or any cable manufacturing, then you get 25 rupees out of that 100 rupees as an incentive from Government of India under specs program. So I have given feedback to my T secretary that this scheme is not very lucrative. There are not many takers. So this specs 1 is getting over on 31st March 24, and specs 2 will be announced, which will be more attractive and more lucrative. So just imagine 10% is passive connector cables and 5% is bare PCB, 15% is contributed by these components. And when we'll be at $300 billion, our requirement for passives will be 15%, that is $45 billion, which will be huge. You know, everyone always talks about India mein wafer fab kab banega. But apart from wafer fab, there are so many things. And good news is MSMEs can play into specs policy or passive components. because investments are not in $1 billion. You can have an investment of 25 crore, 50 crore, 100 crore to set up a passive component unit. Only thing, you should set up whatever you do at a global scale. If you can't compete at a global scale, you because it's a commodity game. Passive components are pin to pin replacement part. So people who are having global scale can only survive and be competitive. But when there is a shortage situation, same 2 rupee capacitor people have purchased at 50 rupees. So all those capacitor manufacturers have made huge money in the shortage situation. So semiconductor and component is a cyclic game where demand supply plays a huge role. But I personally see we should have much stronger and bigger focus in creating passive components and bare PCB in India. EMS will continue to be a very big opportunity for three reasons. Firstly, 120 billion going to 300 billion dollar will require a lot of manufacturing. Secondly, global companies from Europe and US, they are looking for alternative to China, and India can emerge as a very big alternative. Thirdly, Government of India has added import duty on assembled PCBA of 15% this year. Sorry, 2023, correct. 2023, not 24. Last year in budget, there is a 15% import duty on assembled PCBA. So people who used to import SKD kit and do only screwdriver assembly in India, all of them are migrating from SKD to CKD. They are importing components now and doing PCB assembly in India. So these are the three main reasons why EMS business will continue to flourish. Means it was $30 billion, it is expected to grow to $87 billion in next 4 years. Means you might have seen, I have seen in Bangalore a company which was doing 10 crore turnover last year is doing 40 crore turnover this year. I have seen companies in Pune who has done a 60 crore turnover last year is doing 110 crore revenue this year. So almost everyone is doubling their revenue in EMS business, and it will continue to grow. So that is one of the another good opportunity. So let me come to startups, where they should focus and what are the opportunities for startups in electronics. So we have seen industry revolution from steam engines to electronics or computer-based industry 3.0, and finally now industry 4.0 is coming, where robotics, AI, ML, or IoT is going to play a huge role. So what we have seen that we were in operational technology, and now everything is becoming smart and connected to cloud or connected to server farms. And information technology and operation technology, these are two different domains, and they don't have really the connection. Earlier, the IT hardware was industry was separate and embedded electronics was separate. But now they are getting connected. Everything is becoming smart and connected to the cloud. And IoT is the conduit which connects embedded electronics with the web or with the clouds or with the servers. So IoT is going to play a huge role in next 5 to 10 years to connect all the gadgets to the cloud. So your home appliances, consumer homes, your cars will be connected, your two wheelers will be connected. The government has a program called AIS 140, under which all the yellow board vehicle like taxis, rickshaws, and buses and trucks have to have a tracker, which will we will able to track those vehicles. In medical and body health, there is a lot of IoT coming in building infrastructure, air conditioning. There is a lot of IoT coming in, and smart cities. IoT is everywhere. So, what are the opportunities for the IoT startups? As I mentioned, everything is becoming smart and connected. So, electronic content in vehicle is growing. But if you look at all these EVs, two wheeler, they have a 4G module into every electric vehicle. Okay, all cars they are coming with OBD2, onboard diagnostic tool, which talks to your service center and gives a report about your car health. Or there is a Wi-Fi network in every car now. Okay, smart home appliances. Most of the appliances are now either BLE or Wi-Fi based control. And smart grid, smart energy meters, solar pumps with 4G connectivity. These are a lot of opportunities. Now, what are the challenges for startups? Firstly, selecting a right platform. What I've seen in India, there are more than 5,000 startups working in embedded electronics. But what is success rate of this startup? Less than 10%. So engineer fresh out of college have a lot of enthusiasm, they have a great product idea, they start innovation, form a company, get money from parents or friends or relative, invest their energy efforts in developing proof of concept or of a prototype in 1 or 2 years of effort. And after that 1 or 2 years of effort, they realize that they have created a product which is too expensive to sell, or they have created a product which is not meeting market expectation. And either of the case, they exhaust their funds, they exhaust their passion, and finally end up taking up job in TCS and Infosys. So this is the story of more than 90% startup. How we can change that? If these startups get a right advocacy when they are on drawing board, that hey guys, you have to use this platform or this architecture, they should consult some good technical mentors before they really invest into any platform. Secondly, most of them come up with a me too idea. Okay, that okay, this product has a huge demand, I will also make at, let's say, 30% cheaper price, and I will get 10% market share. So they create business model just because they thought that I can have a cheaper option than the market which is selling today. But by the time they develop, the established player can drop 10, 20% price anytime, or they have already established brand. So competing with that brand becomes a very big challenge. So always when they are deciding on any new product, there should be some technical differentiator. There should be some new feature. Okay, and also these startup face a challenge of sample support, technical mentoring. If they face any technical issue, see semiconductor companies like Renesas, Microchip, Infineon, ST Micro, they don't have bandwidth to support startups. They support only big companies. Same way distribution FAs also support only big companies. So their technical issue drags. Then their test equipment is another big challenge. They don't have those 5 gigahertz oscilloscope or signal generators or expensive test equipment. So these are some of the challenge. And I personally think that we are creating a lot of incubators and center of excellences, but the fundamental issues of funding, fundamental issue of technical mentoring and advocacy are still lacking. Means most of the engineering colleges have created incubation center. So STPI has set up 22 center of excellences, or there are so many good incubators like Deshpande Foundation in Hubli, or there are many. ITI has set up in Bangalore. NASCOM has set up an excellent center in Bangalore. But what lacks is a technical mentoring. Means when I visited NASCOM center, I found one startup which is working on an analog devices chip, which was already announced end of life, and that startup was not aware that this chip is going to not going to be available next year. Or another startup was working on too expensive platform, or some of them they just use the Raspberry Pis of the world and start development using Raspberry Pi. That is not going to make you competitive. You may have a proof of concept. So that advocacy, how they can be techno commercially successful, is very very critical. And then only we can improve the success rate of these startups from 10% to maybe 30% or 40%. And that is another critical need, because these guys are creating product innovation. And as I mentioned, for high value addition, product innovation from India is one of the critical need. So we have startup have to play a big role, and to make them successful is our responsibility. Domains for startups, you can develop any industrial product, healthcare, automotive, products for smart city, agriculture, home building automation. And business model can be OEM, white label, licensing, or paper use like royalty based, or just purely product engineering services. You can become an independent design house and do products for some big companies. There are so many good examples of design services companies which started very small and now they are almost 500 crore or 1000 crore companies. To name few, iWave System in Bangalore, Mistral Communication in Bangalore, Infochip in Ahmedabad. Excellent design services companies. They are doing global designs in embedded electronics. Okay. And in fact, at this point of time, Vishwas Kaleji, I want to address your question. Manufacturing is a large investment, and how can a new company can afford it? Sir, you don't have to really set up a manufacturing unit. There are 100 plus EMS companies available. You have to just create a good product and you work with any EMS company, become a ODM. You can supply that product based on the market demand and get it manufactured through any EMS company. In fact, EMS company today offer not only job work, but they also offer turnkey service. Turnkey service means they procure component and they give you a complete finished product, even box building. So your cash flow is also not affected. Compound sourcing is done by them. They are giving you 30 or 60 days credit. By the time you can sell your product and recover your money from your customer. So ODM is a fantastic model for startups. I want to give one example. There is a company in Bangalore called Virtual Forest. 20 people team started 4 years back. They have developed air condition controller, washing machine controller, anything related to BLDC motor controller, for ceiling fan controller, or they have developed EV motor controller with 20 people team. And today they have IFB, Voltas, Blue Star, Crompton, you name it, all the leading brands buying their product. What they have done, they have partnered with a EMS company and they are supplying through that EMS company. And they are recognizing royalty from EMS company or top line revenue. They buy from EMS company and sell to end customer. So, this year they will be doing around almost 50 crore turnover. So you don't have to really invest into SMT line or any manufacturing line. You become a ODM partner with EMS company. See, I was MD of Aero Electronics. We acquired this company, Infochip in Ahmedabad. And Infochip was purely a design services company. And I was on board for Infochip for 2 years. I told them, guys, we will become ODM. We partner with a EMS company called Avalon in India. And we started telling our customers, we will design product for you. Also, we will supply you assembled PCBA. You want 10,000 PCB, we'll supply from India. You want 50,000 PCBs, we'll supply from India. And with that strategy, in 1 year, we built $15 million worth of new business as a ODM. Okay, so that is a very good model for startups. You don't have to invest into any manufacturing. You just focus on technology. But when you are developing technology, ensure that you have a good differentiator. Technology enablers, you use new sensors, you use new wireless technology. NB-IoT is a new standard. LoRaWAN is another good new standard. Your product should be based on the BLE or Wi-Fi or ultra wideband or GSM GPRS connectivity. Okay, because everything is becoming smart, your new product should be having a connectivity with the right technology. Power technology like energy harvesting. I know a company, Atmosic, which has developed a BLE chip which doesn't require battery. They do energy harvesting through photovoltaic, thermal, vibration, and RF. So if you have one sub gigahertz or 1.2 gigahertz or 2.1 gigahertz RF available in your room, that BLE chip takes charge from that RF network. So you don't have, you seen new Samsung remote? There is no battery. It is working on Atmosic BLE and it has a small PV cell on top of the remote. So there are new technologies coming. Just keep a track what is best and what is innovative to have the next generation product. Ecosystem is available at Design for Manufacturing Initiative at TAI Bangalore. We have created technology mentor pool. Now I have a list of mentors, people who have just retired from electronic industry, but they have a interest in contributing to startup ecosystem. We have taken all those people as our mentors, and they are helping startups. Prototype manufacturing, there are many good companies like Lion Circuit is a classic example. You have to just give your Gerber file of your PCB design, or you just give the circuit diagram of your PCB. They do CAD CAM design, they fabricate PCB for you, they procure component for you, they assemble component for you, they test your PCB and give you tested PCB. So there are companies which are emerging in India who are offering such wonderful services. We should have avail that. Okay, product certification is another critical need. There is a company in Bangalore who has now created a complete database. If you need EMI, EMC certification, where to go? If you need UL certification, where to go? If you want to qualify your product for US export, what all activities you have to do? There are such companies available now, and all these startups must avail those companies. There are labs available like IoT Open Lab in Bangalore. Arrow invested $1 million into that lab. We have world class test equipment, and not only test equipment, my application team is working from that lab, who is doing handholding and technical support for startups. So we have another 2 minutes, then I will stop for Q&A. 1 minute only. So, hot areas, smart hearables, smart watches, smart meters, industrial IoT, smart city IoT, healthcare. Okay, again, from India point of view, energy optimization, industrial IoT. Industrial IoT is a great area because big companies doesn't play in industrial IoT because every industry has some unique need, unique requirement, and that can be catered by startups. Drones is another emerging area, or authentication is also a big area. So I will stop here my presentation. These are my credentials, or Vilashi can share those credentials with you. You can reach out to me anytime. So let me stop here. Any questions?
Hello. Good morning, sir. My name is Jai Krishna Puranik. I am calling from Nasik. Are you able
Yes,
to
sir.
hear me? Yeah,
Yes,
thank you so
Puranik
much.
ji, boliye.
At one time, no, you remember that there was so much great interest from the National Semiconductor designed and manufactured in hardware MPPT algorithm for solar photovoltaic. Unfortunate part is I don't know if that
Puranik sir, you are breaking. Hello. Hello.
I'll contact again. I'll call again. I'll call again.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. My query is solar photovoltaic panels require MPPT,
Hmm.
and what is being done to make sure that you don't need to write software for microcontroller to implement MPPT. It is inbuilt in the hardware. Like one time, National Semiconductor did it. ST Microelectronics is doing it. I'm not aware of any other companies, but there's a great need, great demand for the MPPT for the solar PV panel, which are there with every street light, street signaling lights, and that is a big field where some thoughts are needed. So, what is your advice on that?
No, absolutely.
MPPT
See,
for
Mr.
solar
Puranik,
PV.
it's not only MPPT chargers or solar. For
Yeah,
every large opportunity, we have to
yeah,
figure out what value addition we can bring in India, what innovation
yeah,
we can do from India. See, today, solar panel market is dominated by China. Okay, it has become,
yes,
panel has become commodity, but how we can improve the efficiency of that panel? Okay,
yes,
means
yes,
changing the angle of the panel, or cleaning those panel periodically, or doing some, let's say, solar inverters, whereas we
yeah,
can store that energy. There is a lot of innovation possible on by electronics into solar technology. Means, I don't
yes.
know if you heard of a company called Enphase. It's one world's largest solar inverter company based in Bangalore,
Mm-hmm.
but again, it is registered in US. They are doing R&D in Bangalore and doing manufacturing with Flextronic in Chennai and exporting all the products to US market. So
Mhm.
Germany, Spain is a very large market for solar inverter. So if electronics embedded design is our strength, so it's not only solar domain. You take any other field, okay? We have to really
Yeah.
figure out what is the total available market, what is the next generation technology we can bring in that particular market, and can we create some unique USP, unique selling point to really
Yeah.
create differentiator and win a market share. See, most of the time people are just thinking of me too idea. That
Mhm.
mindset has to be changed. So you can apply not only for solar MPPT charger, you should apply this analogy of innovation across all verticals, all sectors.
Yeah, very apt. I think the national level committees would definitely take into account your points. It's very heartening to know that you are advisor to so many government bodies. I think we will be greatly benefited with your vast experience.
Thank you, Mr. Puranik. Any other question?
Hello.
You can post
Uh,
question in chat
please,
box also.
Vishwas Kale, I think you have few questions.
Yeah, so I have addressed one question about the manufacturing large investment. You can partner with EMS company. That was first question. Secondly, his question was heavy competition by chip and device companies. I suggest India's strength is design, and we should focus on creating fabless ecosystem. I'm not asking people to set up wafer fab unit in India, but why can't we develop next RISC-V architecture or ARM core is available? Why can't we develop the next ARM processor based technology? Artificial intelligence is the next big thing happening in the world. Why can't we develop AI enabled processors or controllers using our talent into fabless technology? So, point is at some point of time there is a risk. I'm not saying that there is a no risk, but if we really do the good business plan and good analysis of the business case, you will definitely find some area where you can have a very strategic solution for the futuristic market. That was next. Secondly, he mentioned about the new area, hard can and jam. Okay, absolutely. In fact, that was my pitch. That whenever you are developing anything new, you should figure out what are the next certifications or what are the next standards
I think better
emerging.
ask questions.
Sorry.
There is in chat box some query.
Okay, let me check.
I have one question, sir. I'm
Yes,
Yogesh.
Yogesh.
So the question is, recently I was working on a pre-study of this EV charger modules,
Hmm.
and I got to know that the modules which are received from China are the cheapest one, and it's
Hmm.
very difficult in India to develop those modules in those cost which Chinese
Hmm.
people are giving in that cost. So how to overcome this challenge in India? Because every time we cannot import those modules, or if we import, then there are no warranties or guarantees on that. And then further, again, there is possibility that this make in India cannot happen. We have great challenge to produce ourselves. We can make other cabinet and cabling and wiring everything, but still the
Okay.
modules has to be purchased from China. So how you
Yeah.
think such challenge can be overcome?
Yes, Mr. Yogesh, you are absolutely right that 2G, 4G, or NB-IoT modules are dominated by companies like Quicktale, Neoway, Simcom, which are all Chinese companies. And 90% of India module market today is covered by these three companies. This needs to be changed. Okay, now there is a 15% import duty on assembled PCBA, and customs have become smart. Earlier, these modules people used to import as a IC at a zero duty. They used to position it as an integrated circuit, but now customs have started charging 15% duty for these Chinese modules or any module which is imported. Now, all these people are now started shipping CKD kit to India and getting assembled these modules in India with some EMS company. But at the same time, these are not chip makers. Who are the basic chip makers? It is Qualcomm, which is a US company, MediaTek, which is a Taiwanese company. And all these modules are based on either Qualcomm or MediaTek chipset. So both MediaTek and Qualcomm are equally interested to create quicktails of the world from India. And already there are three companies who have developed India-based module. There is a company called Chakra in Bangalore. There is a company called Mobi something in Noida. So they have Milanj in Bangalore. They have developed modules based on the same Qualcomm and MediaTek chipset. However, the scale at which Quicktail produce and scale at which Indian companies produce, okay, that is completely different today. And
Yes,
it is the
yes,
same
yes.
story that because of which the cost of Indian module is still expensive than Quicktail and Neoway. So at some point of time, once this Indian ecosystem is evolved, like government has banned now Chinese CCTV players like Hikvision and Dahua, I expect that once Indian ecosystem is evolved to cater to the volume requirement, I'm sure Indian government will ban Chinese module. But it is going to take time. I know
Yes.
what you are exactly mentioning because in Arrow I was distributor of Neoway and Quicktail,
Yeah, yeah,
and I was
yeah,
doing
yeah.
that module business.
Correct,
Okay,
correct,
as an
correct.
NT of
Yeah,
Arrow
yeah,
India, so I know
yeah,
today that market is dominated by Chinese.
yeah, yeah. Correct.
That needs to be changed. I agree with
Yeah.
you. It's a very
Thank you.
sensitive application. All your vehicles and trackers connected on a Chinese module, there
Mm,
can be a security threat also.
correct, correct, correct. Yeah,
Yeah, good question.
right. Thank you.
Okay,
And
there is
good
a
answer
question on
too.
chat box. What role can the engineering students play in the scenario? And what could be the role of universities teaching faculty? This is again a big challenge in India. Our curriculum is still the old curriculum. Still, we are teaching 8085 controller, and uh, we don't have the latest RISC-V architecture in our curriculum or latest ARM cores in our controller. Okay, so this needs to be changed, and I think the industry and engineering college collaboration is very important. In fact, I am working with two engineering colleges, one in Mysore, one in Maharashtra, where I am trying to help fourth year student to get the internship with Industry Connect, and that internship can play a big role. I think in fourth year, 6 months internship should be must for all the engineering student, and also training the faculty is also very important, because faculties today the situation is people who don't get multinational job, they turn to education. So I think we have to really train this faculty with some good industry experience, so that they can talk about, or at least you arrange a workshop from industry, uh, every periodic workshop and seminars from the industry experts into engineering colleges. That will help. Okay, good
Uh,
morning, Sanjeev. I'm
Sam-
Sudhir.
Sam- Samre.
Yeah,
Samre
there is.
साहेब बोला तुम्ही. I think you better talk.
Okay, our cluster is
Hello.
yes,
Good morning.
Sudhirji, you have my mobile number. You please contact me anytime. You're most
Yes,
welcome.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Definitely.
Friend,
And we request
we,
you
we will
to
take we will
be.
take the last question. Last question.
Sanjeev, this is Sanjay Gadale here from Hyderabad. Very interesting session. And I was very happy to know that you also were associated with Aero Electronics, because I think Aero Electronics was a pioneer to bring in new technology, including the computer, into the country. Where, in fact, if I remember right, did you work with Mr. Manjunath Gujjar when he was heading?
Future Electronics. Yeah, Manju was heading Future Electronics. He was
Oh,
my distributor when I was heading Motorola Freescale and National Semiconductor. Future was my
okay,
distributor, and I know Manju very well.
wonderful. Manju happens to be my brother-in-law.
Okay, you can talk to him
Small
about
world.
me. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, wonderful knowing you. My question for you, Sanjeev, was actually using this technology. There are a number of smaller incubation centers that the colleges have actually set up across the country. And you know that the quality and the working, as well as the sort of teams that each of these institutes have, are inconsistent. Now, this is where a wonderful initiative like what Vilas has enabled here to get professionals like us together could actually work in being able to upgrade their capabilities. One of those institutions that I am actually directly involved with is run by Gayatri Fade, who is in Nasik and an Institute of Engineer member as well. My request to Vilas as well as you would be that if it is possible to have, I have been a keynote speaker when they had started off their incubation center around 3 years back. There are immediate opportunities in mechatronics and agricultural areas where they need some local hand holding to actually work with. Could we possibly have a separate session under the guidance of Vilas Ramdev Bhai? Whenever it is possible in the future, is my request. And in case there is something that could be done also for having a session with you for the engineering chapters that actually work with EWB India, of which I am the national chairman for all the student chapters across the colleges. I would welcome any.
Sanjay, I think we will talk that separately on a
So,
landline. So
Sajayji,
that
Sure, Vilas.
to answer
Huh.
quickly, I am available for any such presentations these days. See, I left Arrow when I could have stayed in Arrow for 5 more years. Okay, and it was one of the best job in India. But I decided to contribute to Indian ecosystem. So this is my charter now. I'm done with my retirement planning. So my entire focus is to support Indian ecosystem. So I'm available 24 by 7 for any such session. You work with Vilasji and we will plan this.
Sure.
okay, thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you. It's 11 o'clock, friends, and we have come to the end. Those who are having questions, still they can be answered. Just write to me, and I will share Sanjeev's number so that you can directly interact with him.
Wonderful.
I must thank Sanjeev for this wonderful presentation today. He has taken a very good overview of semiconductor industry as well as shown the opportunities available. I'm sure the new entrepreneurs as well as the startups will take some inputs from his presentation and definitely start working towards their goal. This lecture we have recorded, so the recording will be available for those who are interested. Of course, member it is always available. I request newcomers today to join Tech Forum. It's a group of like-minded technocrats, and we support each other. Subscription is just $1,000 per year, just to take care of the expenses. It is an NGO. We don't make profit. We don't make money. So let us join and do this good work together. That is the request from my side. So friends, today's presentation is over. We will meet after fortnight for